Have you ever been going through life and you have everything planned and then out of nowhere, boom, life happens. And you're like, what? What do I do? Where do I go? This isn't how I planned it. Well, that's where I come in the picture. Welcome to the messy middle. I'm your host, Cassie Covey, and I will help you get through that. Let's do this. Hey, welcome to this episode. This one may get a little deep and it may have some triggers to it. So if you have any issues with food or body image or anything like that, maybe you want to hold off listening to this until you're in a good place, because this might trigger you in a little way. But it's something that I need to talk about. So we're just going to talk about it. It's on my heart, and I feel like God put it there because a lot of us struggle with this. And I never knew that I struggled with this until I knew. I mean, does that sound familiar to you? Because it didn't hit me until it hit me. So let me walk you through it. So as I was going through my journey and I lost all the weight, there were times when I lost the weight at first, okay? I know I would have these times where I would look in the mirror and I just didn't see myself. You know what I mean? Like, I really didn't see me. So I had to look, and I would even have my old driver's license right there, because I would have to look at that license and be reminded that, hey, that's where I was. But that's not the person that's in the mirror in front of me. You know, I mean, do you get that? You might get that. I don't know if you do or not. But if you do, like, it's a real thing. So then fast forward to when I put weight back on, and then when I lost the 76 pounds in 7 months. I don't know. I looked in the mirror again and I didn't see me. I didn't see what everyone else saw. You know, I just saw me, the bigger me, that needed to lose my stomach. Like, my stomach was something like I had an issue with. Like, for real, straight up. That was my issue with my stomach, because no matter what would go on, like, it would still be there. And it would just be there. Like, there was nothing I could do about it. My food was on point. Everything was good. But dude, I had 4 kids. And so you're talking about stretch marks. You're talking about all this stuff going on that it may be cool for some people, you know, but I'm not that person. So as I would look, I'm like, dude, I know this is going down, but everything I try to do, I can't take care of this. Like, I can't do anything about it. It's not going anywhere. So when I lost the weight, I'd look in the mirror and I'd be like, oh, man, I see that. Now I can see, like, my face is looking a little smaller, you know, like I have cheekbones, you know. It took me a while to see that. I would look and I'm like, man, today I see that I can see part of my shoulders. Man, when I put on my deodorant, I actually have armpits. Like, for real, this is what it's like. But I didn't see that for a long time, because I'd look in the mirror and I would still see the old me. No matter what I did, I saw the old me time and time again. So I would take my old license and I would put it there, or I'd pull up an old picture and I'd be like, okay, that was me. That's where I was. But I'm not there now. I'm not there now. And I'd continually look in the mirror and be like, okay, yeah, I'm cool, because I'm not there now. So then I'd go back to my stomach. Once again, here we go. We go back to it. And it would really be like I legit had a fat suit on, man. Like, totally. Like, nobody else, it wouldn't matter to anyone else. They wouldn't get it. Maybe you've lost a bunch of weight and you get it. Maybe you haven't lost any weight and you still struggle with this. Like, my heart goes out to you. I totally get it. I get it. I get it why you view things differently. I get it why you sit there and you look and at times you don't see you. You don't see you, because I've been there. I've been where I didn't see me. And the feeling, I don't know how you describe it, because it's kind of like, it's why I would have to do a side-by-side picture. Like, for real, when you get down to it, that's the way that I was able to see me, that I was able to look and say, look at this picture and say, okay, that was the old me. That was me, but I'm not that person anymore. Like, on the inside, like, I'm still that person. I still relate. I still get it. But on the outside, that's not me. I've come so far. so far. And so I would do the side by side and I'd look and I'd stare at that picture. And sometimes I'd even start crying because that's when it would hit me. Like, dude, really, I've done this and I can see me. I need to sit here and see me. So I think what gets us is we have these big goals. Okay. So let's break it down. We have these big goals and we want to do, like, we want to lose a bunch of weight. Okay. Let's just say that because we want to lose a bunch of fat. And so we look, and then when that happens over a quick period of time, our brain can't catch up. So your mind, instead of slowly going into it, your mind still sees the person that you were on the outside because your brain hasn't caught up, because you've done everything to lose weight, but mentally you haven't done anything. You haven't sat in that mirror. You haven't looked at yourself. You haven't had a conversation with yourself. You haven't asked yourself how you really are. You haven't dug deep. You haven't just sat with yourself. Just sat there. I mean, legit. Just sit there and take it all in and just say, okay, this is where I'm at. Am I cool with myself? Am I cool with this? Because so many times we're trying to fix everything on the outside, but what we need to fix is the inside, because it has nothing to do with the outside. Nothing to do with it. Because if you take care of the outside and the inside is still hurting and you're broken and you're in pain and you're struggling, then you're always going to try and find something on the outside to fix. And it's not going to fix it. It's just not going to do it. So that's where it takes a time of where you got to heal, because everything that's going on the outside is just the pain and the struggles of life that have happened that we deal with by going to food, and it shows up on the outside. But inside, dude, we're screaming for help. We're hurting. We're struggling. We're in pain. And that pain just goes on and on and on. So no matter how much you try and fix the outside, the inside's still hurting. So as you look in the mirror and you start asking yourself these questions, because you need to ask yourself these questions, you need to go down this road. I don't care if it's no weight that you have to lose. You just look, and there's something about yourself that you're trying to pick apart. Okay. One, we need to stop that. Stop that. Because God created you in His image to do great things. And you're always going to have flaws, because that's what makes you amazing. You're always going to have something that makes you different from someone else. Embrace it. Lean into it. How can you use that? What can you do with it? Who can you help? That's how we have to view it. So that's what I did. Every day I'd sit in the mirror a little bit more, and it may sound crazy, but I'd sit there and I'd just look at myself and I'm like, yeah, my arms, yeah, there. I got a little bit of flab there. And it's just like swinging every time I wave goodbye. And I just wanted to stop. But then you know what? I was like, okay, but it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. I could be like I was before, but I'm not. I've grown so much, because no matter what, I can always find something. And I know you can always find something to pick yourself apart about. Always. And you always will be able to, because you're human. You know, that's what we do. But at the same time, when we pick ourselves apart, we need to say, look in that mirror and say, but I love myself. I've come this far. I've survived whatever you survived. You've survived 100% of your worst days. You made it to today. The thing you're struggling with is going to be the same thing that you're going to use to help someone else with. So you look in that mirror and you may not see you today. You may not see you. But when you stare long enough, you're going to see yourself. And that's what I want you to do. When those voices try and come in your head and they try and tell you that you're not good enough, or you need to change this, or what if you just did this a little bit more, or did this a little bit less, or you didn't have this going on with you. Just shut them down. Shut them down. Remind them of how far you've come. Remind that voice in your head of how amazing you are. Remind that voice in your head of how many people that you're going to inspire to do great things. Remind that voice in your head of the great things that God has in store for you. Remind that voice in your head of how far you've come and how far you're going to keep going. Remind that voice in your head of how perfect that God created you, and you may not be. He created you in His perfect image, and you're not going to be perfect, but you're perfectly imperfect. And that's amazing. And that is amazing. So I'm saying all that to say that we're always going to be able to find something wrong with ourselves. We always are. And we're always going to struggle in a certain way to where we think we need to do better, or we think we need to fix this, or we think we need to fix that. But it's okay, because you're going to keep going and doing what you're doing, and you're going to look in that mirror. And I'm telling you, set a timer. Maybe you can only start out with 10 seconds looking in the mirror. but you need to look in that mirror. And I want you to get happy with yourself. I want you to smile. I want you to say, hey, I've come this far. Nobody else knows your journey. Nobody else knows why you want to do the things that you want to do. They don't know until you tell them. They don't know your why, and they may be struggling in the same area. So when you find out your why and you know why you're doing it, and it's not just superficial and something on the outside, because that's not going to last. That's not a full change. That's just a pain that needs handled, and you're just trying to handle it by doing little quick fixes, but it doesn't last. So don't do that. We can't do that. We got to spread everything so much more. Make it deeper. Make it to where you're in that mirror and you actually have that conversation with yourself that you don't want to have. And you're like, yeah, I really don't like this about myself right now, but you know what? I'm cool with it. I may not like it, but I'm cool with it. And you're just cool with it. So now when you do this and you can see yourself, you're sitting there with yourself in the mirror and you're cool with what you see, but there's still going to be a time when something pops in your head and you don't like what you see or you want to make a change. Then you know what? That's okay. You're human, but hold that thought captive because that thought's not going to control you. You're going to take it and you're going to spin it. And you're going to say, how am I going to use this? What do I need to do to flip this around? Why do I want to make this decision? What's at the root cause of this that's bringing all this up? And it's making this such a big issue with you. What's the root cause of it? And that's what I looked at when I can see myself now and I'm cool with myself. And I struggle with the part of my stomach. And that's why, just point blank, I'm going to get a tummy tuck. And people may not understand. And I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. I've been in dark places, really dark places. And I've been in dark places where I really didn't like myself at all. And I didn't like really anything that I saw, but I'm cool with looking in the mirror and I'm cool with where I'm at and I can see myself because you know what? I've done the work on the inside. So this past year, I've sat and I've just sat in the spot of where I am because my brain needed to catch up with where I was. And when you do that, you get in sync with yourself and you get in sync with knowing where you are and where it's coming from. And yeah, there are things I wish I could change, but I can't change everything and I'm cool with that. But when it comes to my stomach, I can, because no matter how good my diet is, no matter how much I work out, you just can't do anything about this loose skin. At my heaviest, I was 277 pounds. That's a lot. That was big. So the amount of weight I've lost, there is extra skin there that I will never be able to do anything about. And I don't want to carry that extra skin around with me and constantly remind myself of who I used to be or have an excuse of, well, if I gain a little bit of weight, it's okay. Like it's just going to fill out here and everything's going to be good. I don't want that because I will use that as an excuse. I know I will. And I don't want that. I've come too far for that. And it seriously feels like there's a fat suit. Like I'm me and I'm me on the inside. Like there was this person who was thinner that wasn't as big. And now there's just this suit on the outside that if I pull up the suit, that it's just there and it just goes with me wherever. And I don't want to go back in that suit. I don't want to be there, It has nothing to do with the outside. It has nothing to do with me not liking myself, me hating a part of my body, doing whatever. It has none of that. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I love myself and I love how far I've come and I love what I've done. I can sit in the mirror and I'm cool with it, but I'm going to do this because this only makes it 100% better. And it makes it so that I won't have a fat suit on. Point blank. That's out of my control. And this is the way that I can control it. I can have this done, and I'm cool with that. And it's taken me a long time to actually get to that point and to become cool with that and to not let other people's opinions affect my decision. I take all the opinions in, but I just don't, I'm cool with my decision. So if you struggle in this area, you got this. Just keep going. Keep going. Look in that mirror and tell yourself how wonderful you are and just keep going. And got you. Just reach out. Have a great day. Hey, so when it came to that topic, man, we're gonna have to take another dive into it. We need to do a part two, and I would really love to get everyone's input on it. Like where you're at. Have you struggled with it? What's helped you go through it? Do you still struggle with it? How do you see yourself? Do you have moments when this just creeps up and hits you out of nowhere? Or you've never felt it before? Or you have and you didn't know that's what it was? I think that was me. So I want to take another dive into this, and I want to do it from a perspective of someone else who's gone through it. So if you've gone through this, reach out to me. Send me a message, send me an email, something, and let's talk about this because, man, I really do think a bunch of us are struggling with this, and I think we're doing it in silence. And that's not cool. We don't need to struggle in silence because, man, we're two or more come together. And yeah, so that's what we need to do. We need to come together and we need to help each other. So let's get to it. Um, Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you can't talk about it. Maybe this is going to help you talk about it. Maybe this is going to help someone you know talk about it because they're struggling in silence. I don't want us to struggle in silence because then the little people that look up to us, they're not going to know how to handle things. They're not going to know what's going on and then they're going to struggle in silence. All right. So let's break the cycle. Let's just talk about it. Let's get it out there and let's help each other. Okay. So just hit me up. Let me know where you're at and just chime in.